Chicago O'Hare Airport, Gate B-17, Monday, 6:47 a.m. Security! Gate Agent Brenda Sullivan's voice cut through the morning terminal buzz. We have an impersonator at Gate B-17. Captain Zara Washington froze mid-step, her pilot's cap nearly slipping as heads whipped around. She wore a pristine Skyline Airways uniform, 4 gold captain's stripes, silver wings, regulation black shoes polished to mirrors. Her crew badge dangled clearly from her neck. Brenda pointed an accusatory finger. Ma'am, I don't know where you got that costume, but you need to leave this secure area immediately. Passengers pulled out phones. A businessman lowered his Wall Street Journal. 2 teenagers started recording. Playing dress-up is illegal in airports, Brenda announced to the growing crowd. Her voice dripped with theatrical authority. Real pilots don't look like, well, you people know. Zara's leather briefcase sat at her feet, an executive committee badge catching fluorescent light. Have you ever been judged so completely that someone called security just for existing in your own workplace? 6:49 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 52 minutes. Zara reached into her jacket pocket, moving slowly to avoid escalating the situation. Her pilot's license emerged first, a laminated Federal Aviation Administration certificate with her photo, ratings, and medical clearance. Here's my... Brenda waved it away without looking. Anyone can fake those online nowadays. She turned to address the growing crowd of onlookers. You see how they try to scam their way into restricted areas? A passenger named Maya Monroe had been live streaming her morning coffee routine when the commotion started. Now her phone camera captured everything. The viewer count ticked upward, 47 watching, then 89, then 156. Y'all seeing this discrimination at O'Hare right now? Maya whispered into her phone. This lady in a full pilot uniform is getting harassed. Zara pulled out her employee ID badge next. The plastic card bore Skyline Airways logo, her photo, and a magnetic stripe for security doors. Her employee number, SA4472. Hire date, March 15, 2019. Ma'am, I've been flying for Skyline for 6 years. Her voice remained level, professional. I'm Captain Washington, assigned to Flight 447 to Denver this morning. Brenda barely glanced at the ID. Look, I don't care what Walmart costume department you raided. Real airline pilots go through years of training at military academies or fancy flight schools. She crossed her arms. They don't just hand out pilot licenses to random people off the street. Maya's live stream exploded with comments. This is insane. She's obviously a real pilot. Report this lady now. I'm calling the airline. Get her badge number. The viewer count hit 1,247 and climbed. Zara's phone buzzed. A calendar reminder flashed across the screen. Board meeting. Executive presentation. 9 o'clock a.m. Conference room A. She dismissed it quickly, but not before checking her premium leather briefcase one more time. Co-pilot Jake Morrison appeared at the crew entrance, rolling his flight bag. His face brightened when he spotted Zara, then immediately darkened as he took in the scene. Captain Washington! He strode over confidently. Ready for another smooth flight to Denver? Brenda whirled around. Oh, so now you're both in on this scam? Jake's jaw dropped. Scam? Brenda, what are you talking about? She's been my captain for 8 months. We flew the Miami route together just last week. I don't know what game you two are playing, Brenda's voice rose higher, but I'm not falling for it. Real pilots have documentation, credentials, and proper procedures. Zara opened her flight bag. Inside sat her flight manual, aviation charts for the Denver route, weather printouts she'd reviewed at 5 a.m., and her logbook showing 3,847 flight hours across 12 aircraft types. She placed each item methodically on the counter. Here's my route study for today's flight. Current weather conditions at Denver International. My logbook with FAA required currency training completed last month. Her tone remained steady, matter of fact. And here's my medical certificate, renewed 60 days ago. Brenda swept the papers aside with her forearm. Several documents fluttered to the terminal floor. Anyone can print fake paperwork. Her voice carried across 3 gate areas now. I've seen this before. People trying to sneak into cockpits, steal planes, commit terrorism. The word terrorism rippled through the crowd. Several passengers stepped back. A security announcement crackled overhead about remaining vigilant and reporting suspicious activity. Maya's phone screen showed 2,991 viewers. Comments flooded in faster than she could read them. Zara knelt calmly to collect her scattered documents. As she stood, her briefcase shifted slightly. The executive committee badge caught the overhead lighting. Just a flash, barely visible to most observers. But Jake noticed. His eyes widened almost imperceptibly. Brenda, he said carefully, maybe you should call your supervisor, or check the crew manifest system. Captain Washington is scheduled for this flight. I don't need to check anything, Brenda snapped. I use my eyes and common sense, and both tell me this person doesn't belong in a cockpit. Flight attendant Sarah Kim arrived next, her rolling bag clicking across the terminal tiles. She took in the scene. Scattered documents, Maya's live stream, the growing crowd of rubbernecking passengers. What's happening here? She asked Jake quietly. Brenda thinks Captain Washington is impersonating a pilot. Sarah's face went white. Are you serious? She's flown with our crew dozens of times. I served her coffee just 3 days ago on the Boston run. Brenda overheard. Oh, sure. Now everyone's part of the conspiracy. How much are they paying you people? 6:52 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 49 minutes. Zara's phone buzzed again. This time a text from someone listed as CEO Office. Presentation materials ready. Looking forward to your recommendations this morning. She glanced at the message, then at her watch. A subtle Omega Speedmaster, the same model worn by NASA astronauts. Perfect timing, she murmured, almost to herself. Maya caught it on live stream. The comment section exploded with speculation about what perfect timing meant. The viewer count hit 4,156. 6:54 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 37 minutes. What seems to be the problem here? Supervisor Tom Richards emerged from the jetway, his Skyline Airways management badge swaying as he walked. His tone suggested he'd already made up his mind about the situation. Brenda straightened, sensing reinforcement. Tom, thank God you're here. This woman is impersonating a pilot. She has fake documents, fake ID, the whole 9 yards. Richards looked Zara up and down, his gaze lingering disapprovingly on her face. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the secure area immediately. Jake Morrison stepped forward. Tom, this is Captain Washington. She's been with the company for 6 years. I'm her co-pilot on today's Denver flight. That's impossible, Richards replied without checking any system or documentation. Our captain assignments come through proper channels. Real captains report through crew scheduling, not by wandering around terminals in costumes. Maya's live stream viewer count hit 8,942. The comments section had become a waterfall of outrage. Someone call the news. This is 2025 and we're still dealing with this? Get her badge number. Viral this now. A passenger in the crowd shouted, Just check the computer system. Richards turned sharply toward the voice. Sir, please don't interfere with airport security matters. We handle these situations according to protocol. What protocol? Sarah Kim couldn't contain herself anymore. The protocol where you ignore a pilot's credentials because of how she looks? Miss Kim, I suggest you watch your tone or you'll be looking for new employment. Richard's threat hung in the air like smoke. 6:56 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 35 minutes. 2 airport security officers approached, their radios crackling with dispatch codes. Officer Martinez, a 20-year veteran, looked confused as he surveyed the scene. We got a call about an impersonator in the gate area? He glanced at Zara's uniform, then at the scattered documents on the counter. Ma'am, can you show me some identification? Zara reached for her license again. Martinez actually examined it this time, comparing the photo to her face. He checked the holographic security features, the issue date, the medical clearance stamps. This looks legitimate to me, he told Richards. Current FAA license, proper ratings for commercial aircraft. Richards snatched the license from Martinez's hands. These things can be faked. I've seen them on the dark web. Perfect replicas. Tom, Jake's voice carried a warning edge. You're making a serious mistake here. The only mistake, Richards shot back, is letting unqualified people near our aircraft. Do you have any idea what happened to airline security after 9/11? We don't take chances with suspicious individuals. The crowd had grown to nearly 50 people. Gate areas B-15, B-16, and B-19 had emptied as passengers gravitated toward the spectacle. Maya repositioned her phone for a better angle, her viewer count now approaching 12,000. Someone in the back yelled, "This is racial profiling!" Richards spun around. Anyone making false accusations will be escorted from the terminal. This is about safety and security, nothing else. 6:58 a.m., Flight 447, departure 33 minutes. Zara's phone rang. The caller ID showed Chief Pilot Anderson. She answered calmly. "Good morning, Chief." A gruff voice carried through the speaker, audible to those nearby. "Washington, where are you? Flight 447 should be boarding passengers in 20 minutes. "I'm at gate B-17, sir. There seems to be some confusion about my crew assignment." "Confusion? What kind of confusion? You're scheduled as pilot in command on the Denver route. I assigned you myself last Friday." Richards grabbed the phone. "Let me speak to whoever that is." Zara pulled the device away smoothly. "Chief, Mr. Richards, the gate supervisor believes I'm impersonating a pilot." A long pause. Then Anderson's voice, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Put Richards on the phone, now." Richards reluctantly took the phone. "This is Tom Richards, Gate Operations Supervisor." The voice that erupted from the speaker could be heard 3 gates away. "Richards, what the hell is wrong with you? Captain Washington is one of our most experienced pilots. She's got more flight time than half our senior crew." Richards' face reddened. "Sir, I was just following security protocols." "Security protocols, my ass! You get her on that plane right now, or you'll be explaining to corporate why Flight 447 missed its departure slot." The call ended with an audible click. 7:01 a.m., Flight 447. Departure, 30 minutes. The crowd murmured as Richards stood frozen, still holding the silent phone. Maya's live stream comments exploded with vindication and anger. The viewer count hit 15,783. But Richards wasn't finished. His supervisor authority had been publicly challenged, and his ego wouldn't accept defeat. "Anyone can fake a phone call," he announced to the crowd. "Voice changers, accomplices, sophisticated scams. I've seen it all in 15 years of gate operations." Officer Martinez looked incredulous. "Sir, you just heard the chief pilot confirm her identity." "I heard a voice on the phone," Richards corrected. "For all we know, that was her boyfriend reading from a script." Zara checked her watch again, the Omega Speedmaster catching light. Her briefcase sat perfectly upright beside her, the executive committee badge now visible to anyone looking closely. She opened her phone and scrolled through contacts, stopping at an entry labeled simply, "Director." "Excuse me," she said quietly, stepping slightly away from the group. The call connected immediately. "Good morning," she said in a voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, I'm here at the gate. The situation is developing exactly as we discussed." Maya's phone microphone picked up fragments. "Documented thoroughly. Board presentation. Systemic issues." The live stream comments went wild with speculation. "Who is she calling? Board presentation? She's more than just a pilot." Plot twist incoming. 7:03 a.m., Flight 447. Departure, 28 minutes. As Zara ended her call, a news van pulled up outside the terminal windows. Channel 7 News had been monitoring social media trends, and a discrimination story at O'Hare with nearly 20,000 live viewers was too big to ignore. Reporter Amanda Foster rushed through the terminal entrance, her cameraman close behind. Richards noticed the news crew and panicked. "Everyone needs to disperse immediately. This is a security matter, not a media circus." But it was too late. Amanda Foster's professional eye immediately identified the key players: the woman in the pilot uniform, the flustered supervisor, the crowd of recording passengers. "This is Amanda Foster, Channel 7 News, reporting live from O'Hare Airport, where we're witnessing what appears to be a discrimination incident involving an airline pilot." Zara smiled for the first time since the ordeal began. She checked her watch one more time. "Perfect timing," she repeated, her voice carrying a different quality now, quieter but somehow more powerful. Her briefcase clicked open slightly, revealing thick legal documents and a bound report titled Discrimination Audit, Confidential. The real show was about to begin. 7:05 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 26 minutes. Zara Washington stood perfectly still as chaos swirled around her. The news camera rolled. Maya's live stream hit 23,000 viewers. Airport security looked confused. Tom Richards seemed caught between doubling down and backing down. She opened her briefcase fully for the first time. Inside, thick legal documents sat in perfect order. A bound report marked confidential in red letters. Multiple ID badges clipped to the interior, and one laminated letter bearing the Skyline Airways corporate seal. "Mr. Richards!" Zara's voice cut through the noise with quiet authority. "Ms. Sullivan? I believe there's been a misunderstanding about who I am." She lifted the laminated document. The corporate letterhead gleamed under fluorescent lights. "I'm Captain Zara Washington. I've been flying for Skyline Airways for 6 years, as you've heard repeatedly." Her tone remained calm, measured. "But as of 6 a.m. this morning, I'm also the new Regional Director of Operations for Skyline Airways Midwest Division." The terminal went silent. Richard's face was drained of color. That's impossible." Zara held up the appointment letter, signed by CEO Marcus Davidson himself. The date was clear. Effective immediately. The scope was breathtaking. Operational oversight for 47 airports across 12 states. Maya's phone nearly slipped from her hands. The live stream comments exploded. "She's the boss? Plot twist of the century. These people are so fired." "Oh my God, oh my God." 7:07 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 24 minutes. Amanda Foster thrust her microphone forward. "Captain Washington, can you confirm that you've just been promoted to Regional Director?" "The promotion was finalized at 5:30 a.m. this morning," Zara replied evenly. "My first official duty was to conduct an unannounced assessment of gate operations and crew treatment protocols." The words hit Richards like a physical blow. "Assessment?" "Every interaction today has been documented." Zara gestured to Maya's phone, still live streaming to 27,000 viewers. "Ms. Monroe's broadcast provides excellent real-time evidence, as does Channel 7's coverage. And of course," she reached into her briefcase and withdrew a small recording device, "I've been documenting everything since 6:47 a.m. The device's red light blinked steadily. Recorded. All of it. Officer Martinez stepped back involuntarily. Sarah Kim covered her mouth with her hand. Jake Morrison looked like he wanted to disappear into the terminal floor. But Zara wasn't finished. "However, that's not why you should be concerned, Mr. Richards." She pulled out her tablet and opened a presentation marked Executive Board Meeting, 9:00 a.m. "I'm presenting my findings to Skyline Airways Board of Directors in less than 2 hours. The topic: Systemic discrimination in gate operations and its impact on company liability. 7:09 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 22 minutes. The crowd pressed closer, phones recording from every angle. Maya's viewer count hit 31,000. Amanda Foster's cameraman zoomed in on the tablet screen. Zara scrolled through slides titled Federal Aviation Regulation 117.3, Crew Member Treatment Standards. Title 7 Violations, Pattern Recognition Analysis. Social Media Impact, Real-Time Brand Damage Assessment. Legal Liability, Projected Settlement Costs. Richards's hands trembled slightly. This was all a setup? This was a routine crew assignment, Zara corrected. Your response transformed it into a case study. She clicked on another slide. Incident Documentation, Gate B17, O'Hare International. The slide contained photos time-stamped from earlier that morning. Richards blocking her path. Brenda pointed accusingly. Security officers approaching. Every moment captured in digital detail. My assistant has been monitoring social media responses in real time. Zara's voice never wavered. Maya's live stream is trending on 3 platforms. Hashtag Skyline Discrimination has 847 mentions in the last hour. Our stock price has dropped $1.30 per share. She showed them her phone screen displaying real-time financial data. Skyline Airways, 1.30, 2.3%. The financial implications hit Richards harder than any personal accusation. Skyline Airways operated on razor-thin profit margins. A 2.3% stock drop represented millions in market capitalization. You're looking at approximately $847 million in lost shareholder value, Zara continued, her voice clinical, based on current trading volume and social media sentiment analysis. A businessman in the crowd audibly gasped. Several passengers began frantically checking their own stock portfolios. 7:11 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 20 minutes. Brenda Sullivan, who had been silent since Richards arrived, finally found her voice. You can't just... this isn't fair. How was I supposed to know? Zara turned to face her directly. Ms. Sullivan, how exactly were you supposed to know what? The question hung in the air like a trap waiting for spring. You don't look like... Brenda's voice trailed off as she realized the pit she was digging. I don't look like what, exactly? Maya's live stream comments went berserk. The viewer count hit 35,000. Brenda's silence spoke volumes. Zara reached into her briefcase one more time and withdrew a comprehensive employee file. Ms. Sullivan, you've been with Skyline Airways for 11 years. You've completed diversity training 4 times. You've signed acknowledgement forms for our anti-discrimination policies. You wear a badge that says, Respect every customer. She flipped through pages of documentation. Training certificates dated from 2014, 2017, 2020, and 2023. Each one bearing Brenda's signature acknowledging she understood company anti-discrimination policies. Yet today, you refused to examine my credentials, dismissed my identification, accused me of terrorism, and called security based solely on your visual assessment. The terminal felt like a courtroom. Zara was the prosecutor, the evidence was overwhelming, and the verdict was inevitable. 7:13 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 18 minutes. A new voice cut through the tension. Captain Washington? Everyone turned to see a man in an expensive suit approaching rapidly. His badge read, Corporate Security, Executive Protection. Ms. Davidson's office sent me. The CEO would like to speak with you immediately. He held out a secure satellite phone. CEO Marcus Davidson's voice crackled through the speaker, audible to the growing crowd. Zara, I've been watching the news coverage. Are you all right? I'm fine, Marcus. The situation is developing exactly as we discussed during your briefing. The casual use of the CEO's first name sent another shockwave through the crowd. These weren't just colleagues. This was a planned operation at the highest corporate levels. Good. I've called an emergency board meeting for 8:30 a.m. The lawyers are already reviewing footage. How do you want to proceed with personnel actions? The corporate security officer gestured for privacy, but Zara waved him off. Public accountability, she said clearly. The response needs to be as visible as the discrimination. Understood. Legal is standing by. HR has prepared termination packages. And Zara? Yes? The board is 100% behind you on this. Clean house. 7:15 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 16 minutes. Richards stumbled backward, his face pale. Personnel actions? Zara closed the phone and returned it to the security officer. She pulled out another document from her briefcase, a thick legal brief stamped with the Department of Transportation's seal. Mr. Richards, Ms. Sullivan, let me explain your current legal exposure. She opened to a highlighted section. Federal Aviation Regulation 117.3 specifically addresses crew member treatment and anti-discrimination protocols. Violations carry fines up to $400,000 per incident and potential criminal charges. The number hit like a sledgehammer. $400,000. More than most people's houses. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act adds civil liability. Current case law suggests damages between $50,000 and $300,000 for workplace discrimination with social media amplification. She flipped to another page. Illinois State Human Rights Act provides additional penalties, and with 37,000 people currently watching this live stream, she gestured to Maya's phone where the viewer count continued climbing. Well, let's just say punitive damages tend to scale with public visibility. Amanda Foster leaned into her microphone. This is unprecedented coverage of workplace discrimination being addressed in real time at O'Hare Airport. The news van's satellite dish extended skyward, beaming the story across Chicago and beyond. 7:17 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 14 minutes. Airport Security Chief Robert Martinez approached the scene, having been alerted by the media presence. His face showed the careful neutrality of someone who understood political minefields. Captain Washington, I sincerely apologize for this incident. This does not represent the standards of O'Hare International or our partnership with Skyline Airways. Thank you, Chief Martinez. I appreciate your professionalism. Martinez turned to his officers. Gentlemen, please ensure these proceedings continue without further interruption. The message was clear. Airport management was distancing itself from Richards and Brenda's actions. Zara pulled out her tablet again and showed a new slide. Skyline Airways Financial Impact Analysis. The numbers were staggering. Current stock price drop, $1.47, 2.6%. Market cap loss, $923 million. Trending hashtags, 1,247 mentions. Projected legal costs, $2.3 to $4.7 million. Brand reputation damage, severe. These numbers update every 30 seconds, she explained matter-of-factly. Our crisis management team is already fielding calls from major investors. Ed Richards looked physically ill. As a 15-year employee, he likely held company stock in his 401k. He was watching his own retirement fund evaporate in real time. 7:19 a.m. Flight 447. Departure 12 minutes. Zara's phone buzzed with another call. She glanced at the screen. Board Chair, Patricia Williams. Excuse me, she said to the crowd, answering immediately. Zara, it's Patricia. The emergency board session is convening now. Marcus briefed us on the situation. Do you need anything? Full legal support and immediate policy implementation authority. Done. The lawyers are drafting termination documents. HR is preparing new training protocols. And Zara? Yes? The board voted unanimously. 0 tolerance going forward. No warnings, no second chances. This stops today. The call ended. Zara looked at Richards and Sullivan, who had heard every word. Mr. Richards, Ms. Sullivan, you have a choice to make. You can resign immediately with standard severance packages, or you can face federal investigation, public termination, and potential legal action for civil rights violations. The weight of federal law pressed down on the terminal like storm clouds. The severance packages include legal protection from personal liability, she continued. Resignation letters admit no wrongdoing but acknowledge policy violations. You have 2 minutes to decide. Maya's live stream hit 42,000 viewers. The comment section moved too fast to read, a blur of outrage and support. 7:21 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 10 minutes. The silence stretched like a taut wire. 2 careers hung in the balance. 2 families' financial futures waited on the next words spoken. Then Brenda Sullivan's shoulders sagged. I'll resign. Her voice cracked slightly. 11 years with the company, a pension she'd never see, benefits that would vanish overnight. Richards looked at her, then at the cameras, then at his own reflection in Zara's calm, professional eyes. Me too, he whispered. Maya's live stream exploded with victory emojis and celebration. The viewer count hit 45,000. But Zara Washington wasn't celebrating yet. She pulled out 2 pre-written resignation letters and placed them on the counter with 2 pens. Please sign and date these. HR will process your final paychecks within 48 hours. Digne. As they signed, she opened her briefcase one final time and withdrew a thick binder marked Project Respect Implementation Phase. The real work was just beginning. 7:23 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 8 minutes. As Richards and Sullivan finished signing their resignation letters, Zara's tablet chimed with an incoming video call. The Skyline Airways corporate conference room appeared on screen. 12 board members seated around a mahogany table, their faces grim. Captain Washington, Board Chair Patricia Williams, spoke first. We're watching the live coverage. Are you ready to proceed with Phase 2? Maya's live stream camera caught the tablet screen. 47,000 viewers suddenly realized they were witnessing a real-time corporate crisis meeting. Yes, ma'am. I have comprehensive documentation and immediate implementation recommendations. Zara opened the Project Respect binder and held up the first page for the camera. The letterhead read, Confidential Executive Analysis, Systemic Discrimination in Gate Operations. Board members, as you can see from the live footage, our operational assessment has confirmed the discrimination patterns we discussed last month. CEO Marcus Davidson leaned forward on screen. What's our financial exposure, Zara? She clicked on a new tablet screen showing real-time analytics. Current stock impact, negative $1.52 per share. That's $967 million in market cap erosion in 37 minutes. The numbers hit like artillery rounds. Richards, still standing nearby, visibly winced as he realized the magnitude of what his actions had triggered. Social media sentiment analysis shows 847% increase in negative brand mentions. Hashtag Skyline discrimination is trending number 3 nationally on Twitter. Number 7 on TikTok. 7:25 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 6 minutes. Amanda Foster positioned her cameraman for a better angle as Zara continued her real-time board presentation. According to Federal Aviation Regulation 121.383, airlines maintaining discriminatory practices face potential route suspensions and operating certificate reviews. She pulled up another document. The Department of Transportation's Office of Aviation Consumer Protection has specific guidelines for discrimination incidents with social media amplification. Board member Robert Monroe spoke from the tablet. What are the immediate compliance requirements? Mandatory reporter training within 30 days for all customer-facing personnel, independent third-party monitoring of gate operations, quarterly bias audits with public reporting. The corporate machinery was shifting into overdrive. Legal requirements, compliance protocols, financial implications, all cascading from a single morning's confrontation. However, Zara continued, our primary concern isn't regulatory compliance. It's market position. She showed a new slide. Competitor analysis, crisis response effectiveness. United Airlines' 2017 passenger removal incident cost them $1.4 billion in market value and required 18 months of reputation recovery. American Airlines' discrimination lawsuit in 2020 resulted in $2.3 million in settlements plus ongoing monitoring costs. The board members exchanged worried glances through the video link. 7:27 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 4 minutes. Skyline Airways currently holds 23% market share in the Midwest corridor, Zara explained to both the board and the growing crowd of onlookers. We service 2.3 million passengers monthly with annual revenues of $4.7 billion. Maya's live stream comments exploded with people sharing their own discrimination experiences with airlines. The viewer count hit 52,000. A sustained boycott campaign could reduce our passenger volume by 15 to 30% based on historical precedent. That translates to $180 to $350 million in annual revenue loss. Richards looked like he might faint. His morning discrimination had potentially cost the company hundreds of millions. Patricia Williams spoke again from the tablet. Zara, what's your implementation timeline for corrective measures? Immediate actions within 48 hours. Comprehensive reform within 90 days. Full system integration within 6 months. She opened the binder wider, revealing detailed action plans. Phase 1, emergency policy announcements and leadership changes. Phase 2, technology integration and monitoring systems. Phase 3, cultural transformation and accountability metrics. 7:29 a.m. Flight 447. Departure, 2 minutes. The boarding area had transformed into an impromptu corporate theater. Maya's phone captured every word for 54,000 viewers. Amanda Foster's news crew broadcast live to Chicago's morning audience. Airport passengers crowded around with their own recording devices. Let me outline our immediate response, Zara announced, projecting her voice clearly. First, Skyline Airways hereby implements zero-tolerance discrimination policies effective immediately. Any employee engaging in discriminatory behavior faces instant termination without severance. She clicked a new slide. Second, we're launching Project Respect, a comprehensive bias elimination program. All customer-facing employees will complete unconscious bias training within 30 days. The board members nodded approval through the video link. Third, we're installing AI-powered monitoring systems at all gate operations. Discriminatory language or behavior will trigger immediate supervisor intervention. A passenger in the crowd shouted, "What about compensation for past discrimination?" Zara turned toward the voice. Excellent question. Skyline Airways is establishing a $50 million passenger dignity fund for discrimination victims. Claims will be processed by independent arbitrators. The announcement sent shockwaves through social media. Maya's comment section is filled with people demanding information about filing claims. 7:31 a.m., Flight 447. Departure, 0 minutes. Flight 447's departure time had arrived, but nobody was moving toward the gate. The entire terminal seemed frozen by the unfolding corporate drama. CEO Davidson's voice came through the tablet speaker. Zara, you have full authority to implement these measures immediately. Legal has prepared all necessary documentation. She reached into her briefcase and withdrew a thick stack of pre-signed executive orders. I'm implementing Emergency Corporate Directive 2025-A1, Comprehensive Anti-Discrimination Protocol. The first document bore CEO Davidson's signature and the corporate seal. This directive supersedes all existing gate operation procedures and grants me emergency implementation authority. Richards and Sullivan stood paralyzed as they watched their former workplace transformed in real time. Additionally, Zara continued, I'm announcing the immediate creation of the Chief Diversity Officer position, reporting directly to the CEO with board oversight. She held up another signed document. Dr. Angela Morris, former NAACP Legal Defense Fund Director, has accepted the position effective today. 7:33 a.m. Delayed departure. 2 minutes. Maya's live stream hit 58,000 viewers as Zara delivered her final corporate announcements. Skyline Airways commits to publishing quarterly diversity reports with full transparency. We will track hiring, promotion, and incident data by demographics. She showed a mock-up mobile app on her tablet. The Speak Up Skyline app launches next week, allowing passengers to report discrimination incidents directly to corporate leadership with photo and video evidence. The technology solution impressed even skeptical viewers. Real-time reporting, direct escalation, executive visibility. It was a discrimination victim's digital shield. Finally, Zara announced, Skyline Airways is partnering with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund to sponsor 100 aviation scholarships annually for underrepresented students. The crowd erupted in spontaneous applause. Maya's comment section filled with celebration emojis and praise. Board Chair Williams spoke from the tablet. Captain Washington, the board approves all measures unanimously. You have our full support for immediate implementation. 7:35 a.m. Delayed departure. 4 minutes. As the video call ended, Zara turned to address the crowd directly. 59,000 people watched through Maya's live stream. Amanda Foster's news crew captured every word for television. This morning's incident demonstrates that discrimination still exists in our industry, she said, her voice carrying quiet authority. But it also proves that systematic change is possible when leaders commit to accountability. She gestured toward the signed resignation letters on the counter. Individual consequences matter, but systemic reform protects everyone. Richards and Sullivan had become cautionary tales, their careers sacrificed on the altar of outdated thinking and unconscious bias. Skyline Airways chooses to lead rather than follow. We choose transparency over secrecy. We choose justice over comfort. The crowd listened in rapt attention as she outlined the transformation of a major corporation in real time. These changes begin today, not next quarter, not next year, today. Maya's live stream reached 61,000 viewers as Zara packed her materials back into her briefcase. The executive committee badge caught the light one final time before disappearing. Airport Security Chief Martinez approached respectfully. Captain Washington, Flight 447 is ready for boarding whenever you're prepared. She checked her Omega Speedmaster. Actually, Chief Martinez, I won't be flying today. I have a board meeting to attend. She turned to Jake Morrison, who had watched the entire proceedings in stunned silence. Jake, you're pilot in command for the Denver flight. Congratulations on your promotion. His temporary captaincy was another symbol of the day's transformations, merit rising, discrimination falling, justice prevailing through systematic change. The real revolution had just begun. 7:37 a.m. Post-crisis recovery. As the crowd began to disperse, Maya Monroe ended her historic live stream. The final viewer count, 63,847 people who had witnessed corporate transformation in real time. Her phone buzzed with interview requests from CNN, MSNBC, and The Today Show. This is Maya Monroe, signing off from what might be the most important live stream I've ever done, she announced to her remaining viewers. Sometimes change happens one person at a time. Today it happened one moment at a time. Airport maintenance crews quietly cleaned up the scattered documents and cleared the gate area. Normal operations resumed with unusual efficiency. Nobody wanted to be the next discrimination incident caught on camera. 8:15 a.m. Skyline Airways corporate headquarters. Dr. Angela Morris arrived at her new office to find a comprehensive briefing package waiting. Charts, graphs, incident reports, and policy frameworks covered her conference table. Her first day as Chief Diversity Officer would determine the trajectory of a $4.7 billion company. Her phone rang immediately. Dr. Morris, this is Captain Washington. I'm heading to the board meeting now. Are you ready to implement Phase 2? Absolutely. I've reviewed the preliminary data. We're looking at systematic patterns across 47 airports. Exactly. Today's incident wasn't isolated, it was illustrative. 8:30 a.m. Emergency board meeting. Zara entered the corporate boardroom carrying her briefcase and tablet. 12 directors sat around the mahogany table, their faces reflecting the gravity of the morning's events. Board members, she began without preamble, we've successfully contained immediate damage and implemented emergency protocols. Stock price has stabilized at -$2 per share. She opened her tablet to display real-time metrics. Social media sentiment has shifted 47% positive following our response announcements. Hashtag Skyline Reform is now trending alongside the original discrimination hashtag. CEO Davidson nodded approvingly. The market responded well to decisiveness. What's our long-term implementation strategy? Zara clicked to her comprehensive reform timeline. Phase 1. Complete within 72 hours. All gate agents company-wide will complete emergency bias training. We're deploying mobile training units to major hubs starting this afternoon. Board member Patricia Williams leaned forward. What about monitoring compliance? Phase 2 launches Monday. AI-powered audio analysis at all gate positions. Any discriminatory language triggers immediate supervisor alerts and mandatory intervention protocols. She showed them footage from a test installation at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson. The system recognizes bias indicators with 94% accuracy, false positive rate below 2%. 9:45 a.m. Implementation begins. The first Speak Up Skyline app downloads exceeded 15,000 within hours of launch. Passengers began reporting positive experiences alongside historical discrimination incidents. The flood of feedback provided real-time pulse checks on company culture. Flight attendant Sarah Kim received a notification on her crew tablet. Mandatory bias training, complete within 24 hours. The training module included video analysis of the morning's incident, expert commentary on implicit bias, and scenario-based decision-making. This is actually really good, she told Jake Morrison during their Denver layover. I never realized how many unconscious assumptions I make every day. Jake nodded. Captain Washington didn't just get justice for herself. She created a system that protects everyone. 10:30 a.m. Media response. Amanda Foster's news report aired during Chicago's morning show cycle. The story led with dramatic footage of the confrontation, then shifted to expert analysis of corporate crisis management. What we witnessed at O'Hare represents a new model for addressing workplace discrimination, she reported. Rather than defensive damage control, Skyline Airways chose transparent accountability and systematic reform. Dr. Patricia Johnson, a Northwestern University business ethics professor, provided commentary. This case study will be taught in MBA programs for decades. The combination of individual consequences and institutional change creates sustainable transformation. 11 o'clock a.m. Ripple effects. 3 competing airlines announced their own discrimination review processes before lunch. Delta Airlines fast-tracked bias training implementation. American Airlines launched a passenger feedback initiative. United Airlines hired an external diversity consulting firm. The industry transformation that began with one morning's confrontation spread across the entire aviation sector. 12:15 p.m. Personal impact. Brenda Sullivan sat in her car outside the terminal, staring at her final paycheck notification. 11 years of employment reduced to a severance payment and a lesson in consequences. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister. Saw the news coverage. Are you okay? She typed back slowly. I need to think about who I've become and who I want to be. Tom Richards faced similar reckoning in his suburban office, surrounded by family photos and aviation memorabilia. His 15-year career had ended because he couldn't see past his own assumptions. Both would eventually find new employment. Both would carry the weight of their choices. Both would become inadvertent advocates for the changes they had resisted. 1:30 p.m. Success metrics. Dr. Morris presented preliminary data to the executive team. Employee engagement surveys show 78% approval for the new policies. Passenger satisfaction scores increased 12% in the past 6 hours. The numbers told a story of organizational healing. When companies choose justice over comfort, people respond positively. Most significantly, she continued, we've received 247 applications for our aviation scholarship program. Word is spreading in communities that haven't traditionally seen airlines as welcoming employers. 2:00 p.m. Systemic change. The discrimination monitoring technology was already proving effective. 3 bias incidents at different airports triggered immediate interventions before escalation. Supervisors arrived within minutes, de-escalated situations, and documented lessons learned. The system works because it assumes good intentions while preparing for bad outcomes, Zara explained to a conference call of airport managers. We're not punishing people for mistakes. We're preventing mistakes from becoming discrimination. The cultural shift was measurable. Gate agents began questioning their own assumptions. Supervisors received enhanced authority to address problems immediately. Passengers felt empowered to report concerns without fear of retaliation. 4:00 p.m. Legacy building. As afternoon flights departed on schedule, Zara stood in her new corner office overlooking O'Hare's runways. The briefcase that had started everything sat open on her desk, its executive committee badge catching sunlight. Her assistant knocked. Captain Washington, the NAACP wants to schedule an interview about corporate discrimination reform. The Harvard Business School is requesting a case study presentation, and 63 news outlets have called for statements. Zara smiled quietly. Schedule the NAACP interview for next week. Accept Harvard's invitation for their spring semester, and draft a statement emphasizing systematic change over individual recognition. The real victory wasn't personal vindication. It was institutional transformation that would protect thousands of future passengers and employees. Outside her window, Flight 447 to Denver taxied for departure with Jake Morrison as captain. New policies, new monitoring, new accountability measures protected every interaction between crew and passengers. The discrimination that had defined one morning was becoming the catalyst for generational change. 6 months later, O'Hare International Airport. Maya Monroe walked through Gate B17, the same spot where her live stream had changed everything. A small plaque now marked the location, Project Respect Launch Site, February 13th, 2025. She pulled out her phone, not to live stream this time, but to share a quiet update with her followers. 6 months ago, I witnessed something that restored my faith in justice, she spoke softly to her camera. Today, I'm seeing the results. Gate agents wore new badges reading, Dignity First. Digital displays showed bias reporting QR codes. The Speak Up Skyline app had logged over 3,000 positive interactions and prevented 47 potential discrimination incidents through early intervention. The ripple effect. Zara Washington's promotion to regional director had triggered industry-wide transformation. The O'Hare Protocol became standard practice across major airlines. Real-time monitoring, immediate intervention, and systematic accountability had replaced the old culture of ignored complaints and delayed justice. Captain Jake Morrison, now permanently assigned to the Denver route, carried a different kind of authority. His temporary promotion that chaotic morning had become a permanent position, earned through competence rather than convenience. She didn't just save her own career, he told new pilot trainees during orientation. She saved all of ours from becoming part of a broken system. Personal transformations. Brenda Sullivan found work at a community college, teaching customer service courses with a focus on unconscious bias. Her syllabus included case studies of discrimination incidents, including her own. I spent 11 years thinking I was helping people, she told her students during the semester's first class. But I was only helping people who looked like me. That's not service, that's selection. Her teaching evaluations consistently mentioned her authentic approach to discussing personal transformation and accountability. Tom Richards took a position with an aviation consulting firm specializing in workplace culture reform. His experience as both perpetrator and witness of systemic change gave him unique credibility with resistant organizations. Change is possible, he would tell skeptical executives, but only when the cost of staying the same exceeds the cost of transformation. Measurable success. Dr. Angela Morris presented annual diversity metrics to industry leaders at the National Aviation Conference. The numbers told a story of institutional healing. Discrimination incidents down 87% across Skyline Airways. Employee satisfaction up 34% system-wide. Passenger complaint resolution. Time reduced from weeks to hours. Aviation scholarship program graduated its first class. 43 new pilots from underrepresented communities. Legacy of quiet power. Zara Washington's approach had proven more effective than lawsuits, protests, or public shaming. She had weaponized documentation, leveraged corporate structure, and deployed systematic accountability to create lasting change. Her Harvard Business School case study became required reading. Her NAACP keynote speech was viewed 2.3 million times, but her greatest pride came from the young black pilots who approached her at industry events. "I see myself in cockpits now," one told her after a conference presentation, "because you showed us we belong there." The broader movement. Respect. The skies had evolved from a hashtag to a movement. Passengers shared positive airline experiences alongside discrimination reports. The transparency created competitive pressure for better treatment across the industry. Other sectors began adopting similar protocols. Hotels implemented bias monitoring. Retail chains launched dignity training. Healthcare systems created patient advocacy apps. The morning that began with one woman being blocked from her workplace had become a blueprint for institutional change across multiple industries. Values that endure. The story became required reading in business ethics courses, not because of its drama, but because of its methodology. Zara had proven that systematic change required more than good intentions. It demanded strategic thinking, legal preparation, and unwavering documentation. She had chosen intellectual victory over emotional satisfaction, legal accountability over personal revenge, institutional transformation over individual vindication. The briefcase that had seemed like a simple pilot's kit had contained the tools for corporate revolution: documentation, legal knowledge, strategic thinking, and quiet determination. The call to action. Maya Monroe's final live stream from Gate B-17 reached 847,000 viewers, more than her original discrimination coverage. Her message was simple. This is what change looks like when we refuse to accept that's just how things are. When we document everything. When we demand better. When we create systems that protect everyone, not just ourselves. She gestured toward the busy gate area, where passengers of all backgrounds moved freely through security checkpoints without fear of discrimination. Zara Washington didn't just fight for her own dignity. She built a foundation for all of our dignity. And that's how real change happens. One system at a time, one policy at a time, one moment of courage at a time. Your voice matters. These black stories, these life stories, these touching stories of transformation remind us that real-life stories have the power to reshape institutions. Every workplace discrimination incident you've witnessed matters. Every time you've been judged by appearance rather than credentials matters. Share your experiences in the comments below. Document what you see. Demand accountability from the institutions that serve you. Because sometimes the most powerful response to "that's just how things are" is "that's not how things have to be." Subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more accounts of quiet strength overcoming systematic barriers. Hit that notification bell, because these stories of strategic resistance and institutional change need to be told. Your share could be someone else's inspiration. Your comment could be someone else's validation. Your voice could be the catalyst for the next transformation. The briefcase is closed. The documentation is complete. The system has changed. Now it's your turn to pick up the tools and continue the work.